Kieran Jenkins there. Well, you might have thought that discriminating against a woman because she's had a baby had been made illegal, but it doesn't seem to have stopped many firms doing just that. A survey by the Equality and Human Rights Commission suggests that as many as 54,000 new mothers are losing their jobs in Britain every year, almost twice as many as 10 years ago. Many others say they are treated badly, have suffered harassment, or returned to work under worse pay or conditions. Simeon Brown has this.
Meet Carrie, Hannah, Karen, Claire and 6-year-old Tilly. Then add one Channel 4 News reporter to ask these working mothers their response on new research showing why having children may be harming the career prospects of professional women. The figures suggest that 54,000 new mothers may be forced out of their jobs each year. Almost 1 in 10 of those who completed the survey said that they felt that they were treated badly on their return to work. And 1 in 20 said that they felt pressure to hand in their notice.
I think the problem is that a lot of this happening, it's very kind of under the radar. So it's not really overt. The employers sometimes, and not always, consciously and unconsciously as well, just because of lack of knowledge and lack of understanding about how to deal with a woman who comes back after a baby. They make it very difficult for you to do your job as it was before.
Hannah and Carrie founded Talented Ladies Club for women who, like them, have seen their careers curtailed after having children.
I worked for a large airline, I was cabin crew. And then once I had Tilly, I realised very quickly that that wasn't a job I could go back to. I didn't have the childcare cover for when I was away. So then I decided, well, I'll try and get something else. I didn't think it would be that much of a problem. Well, it really was, it was a major problem. So in the end, for me, I decided that I'd have to work for myself, and so I did a few courses and I became a mobile beautician, because that way I can work around Tilly, around school, and I haven't got to pay for childcare because I just couldn't afford it.
How companies ensure new mothers like Claire are kept in the workforce is a question for equality's watchdogs.
They need to change their mindset, because I think some of them are just either frightened or hostile towards pregnant women at work, which is completely unnecessary and unacceptable. I think some of them panic unnecessarily about not being able to cope, and they think that the law is more complicated than it is.
But any gender gap is not merely the responsibility of employers. So you're talented, you had a high-flying career, but yet you made the decision to stay at home with the children. Surely this is a case of men just being selfish.
The culture of families has been in recent and recent historical times that the man goes out to work and the woman stays home and is the caregiver in the home. And I just think that we inherit this as a society, and we just do what our parents did and our grandparents did, and we follow this pattern. And actually research goes to show that if a woman has a mum who worked when she was a child, she is much more likely to continue working.
Balancing children and a career is a struggle rarely faced by men. Following today's figures, the challenge is that by the time this little one begins her career, the gender gap will be a thing of the past.
Well, we asked to speak to a minister from the Department for Business, Innovation and Skills, but no one was available. But I am joined in the studio by Kieran Dorker, an employment lawyer specialising in unlawful discrimination in the workplace. Kieran Dorker, I mean, the figures suggest things have gone backwards for mothers. Is that your experience?
Certainly from our practice, we see large numbers of women who have experienced discrimination either during their pregnancy, during their maternity leave, or when they come back from work. We know that the last big survey conducted by the EOC 10 years ago showed 30,000 women were facing discrimination dismissal following pregnancy. That's gone up substantially.
But it's interesting, though, because while the survey says many new mothers experience harassment or negative treatment, it also says that most managers questioned said they were firm supporters of pregnant staff and found new mothers were committed employers. Well, they can't both be right, can they?
No, they absolutely can't. And what the biggest issue for us, the priority for us, is that the introduction of the employment tribunal fees has caused a lot of these issues. Now that employers know that women are much less likely to bring an employment tribunal claim because it costs them £1,200, they are more relaxed about equality issues and are more likely to discriminate because the risk of having to, face legal redress has massively diminished.
But I mean, the Conservatives who brought in this policy suggest that actually what this has done is weed out what they call the claims that weren't quite valid.
Yeah, so they have said it was to weed out the unmeritorious claims. What they've done is got rid of all the claims that were any good, because we see that the statistics haven't changed. The types of, the numbers of cases that succeed at tribunal are exactly the same as before.
Of course, by the time you go to tribunal, it is an admission of failure,
Yes.
in a sense, culturally, that we haven't changed enough. What do you think has gone wrong?
That is, I can't answer that question. I don't know what's gone wrong, but what I do know is that the culture needs to change, and it needs to change now. We can't have this for our daughters. We've been struggling through this for such a long time. We can't continue in this way.
Although there have been huge moves forward in terms of maternity leave, in terms of benefits,
Yes.
in terms of women being able to go back to work
Yes.
and go into their old jobs.
And the current big change at the moment is shared parental leave, where fathers can take responsibility in the first year of childbirth, and we hope that men will take it up.
The editor of Vogue, Alexandra Schulman, some time ago was hugely criticised when she came out and said actually she found it quite frustrating, particularly with women who return to work and then go off soon to have more maternity leave. I mean, it is an argument that many businesses feel they just can't say.
I just don't accept that position. People resign with less notice than someone who's pregnant for 9 months telling an employer she's going to be off for a little while. If you invest in those women, stay patient, they will come back and they will be loyal and committed to your environment, your work environment. A diverse workforce is a happy workforce.
But her argument is that, you know, offices change, work changes, and it's not always possible or feasible to bring somebody back into that same workplace after a year on.
Keep talking to her, communicate with her. She's, you know, she's still available when she's on maternity leave.
Kieran Dorker, thanks very much for joining us. Kathy.
Thanks, Jackie. At least 7 people have died